Thank you, Mr. Chair. My first question, if I can find it, has to do with the technique. It's a technical question, but it's more about technical standards. The technique that is used or the approach that is used in the patching of roads. Now, when the Honourable Member for St. James Central presented, one of the things that he raised was the issue of technical standards. And I dare say that one of the areas in which that will apply most is with respect to public works. My question is there a standard for the approach, the methodology that is used in patching roads? Is there a process that includes the use of equipment? And I'm hoping that in asking this question, I get back around to an answer on the availability of equipment that I asked on Friday. Because the question really is there enough equipment to be able to meet the technical standards for patching roads? Because what we've been seeing happening recently is that roads are patched. In some cases, they are, well, I suppose what I would only describe as beat in with the back of the shovel. This is what we've observed. I've observed going around the constituency and in other areas. It seems as if often there is not the equipment to be able to appropriately roll and make sure that it will not become disturbed. And then what happens is that there is some rainfall and whatever was done is undone. So the question really is, what are the standards? What is it that the ministry applies to say this is done according to whatever code or standard we apply, and does it involve the use of equipment, and is there enough equipment to make sure that when a road is patched that it is well done? That's the first question.
Thank you, Minister. I'm going to ask Deputy Chief Technical Officer, Mr. Tudor, to respond.
Yes, good afternoon. To answer your question, yes, there is a standard, but that standard is not often used. The standard, let me go back. There has been training in the past to those officers or those workers who have been assigned to patching trucks, patching crews, right? I did training with some of the officers a couple of years ago. Admittedly, that training needs to be reestablished because a lot of those people who have been trained back then have since retired. But the idea is you come to the pothole, you square up the pothole, you square up the area, dig out the loose material, you apply what we call asphalt emulsion, and then we apply the hot mix asphalt to the area which has been excavated. And you tamp it using either a plate compactor or a jumping jack. One of the issues that we have been having is the guys have not been using those plate compactors. Initially, they said the plate compactors were too heavy to lift on and off the trucks when you move from hole to hole. What we did was we installed what we call Tommy lifts on the trucks. Again, that was not done. So in the expediency of getting the work done, they would use what has been termed as throw and go. Stand on the back of the truck, throw off the stuff, and pack it with the back of the shovel, or if you're lucky, roll over it with one of the wheels of the trucks and move on. That is not the standard to be used, right? That is not the right practice to be used, correct. Now, we find that on rainy days like this, those holes which should have been patched, obviously the patch comes back up because the work was not properly done. On average, every year, we use about approximately 10,000 tons of hot mix asphalt to patch potholes alone. This is a cost of $5 million on average every year we spend on hot mix to patch potholes. So you see that invariably a lot of wastage comes about as a result of not being able to do the work as it should be done. What we will do, I will attempt again to train or retrain those individuals who are now on the patching trucks, and hopefully we will see an improvement of the work going forward. Some of the patching trucks, though, we will have 3 pothole patchers. These pothole patchers are fitted out with everything that is needed to patch the pothole. In other words, they have the plate compactors, they have the jackhammers to excavate the area, they have the brooms and stuff to more or less flush out the loose area. But those are only 3 of the pothole patchers that we have. The other patching crews have what they call patching trucks, which is just the truck with the mix, normally 3 tons of mix on the back of a truck, and the plate compactors on those trucks. But again, as I said before, it all comes back down to retraining of these gentlemen who are there. A lot of it has to do with the fact too that we lost a lot of supervisors due to retirement, and we're not having recruited any new supervisors to manage these patching crews. So it relies heavily on the driver of the truck and 2 or 3 personnel who are involved with the patching. But I give you the assurance that we will reintroduce the training of the correct way to patch potholes, and hopefully going forward there will be significant improvement in that regard.
Thank you, Mr. Tudor. For fear that the chair considers this my second question, which it is not, I will only quickly say that I believe it has to go beyond the training. I keep insisting that training is an input. There has to be, on the other side, checks. There have to be checks and balances to make sure that they are doing what they need to. If the requirement is that a plate compactor be used, as long as it can be used in a way that does not put at risk the health of the individuals doing the work, then that must be insisted upon. So I would suggest that we do more than hope. Hope is not a strategy. That we do more than hope that these standards are employed, but we have a way to check these standards and to make sure that they are adhered to. My second, but thank you very much for your very honest response.